Hi everyone, it's Amy Daniels. I have been visiting my poetry here lately, and I'll get into that at the end, why I've been revisiting my poetry. But I wrote this poem back in November 25th, 2018, and it's been on my mind to read. It's called A River Needs a Cloud. Original poetry written by Amy Daniels. I live in a river now. I tried moving in the beginning, like changing my habitat, but back to where I came from to get to this river. Definitely not going back now. The float got me hooked. The float is intentional. The water is so good here. Truth is patience. Truth makes you forget and remember at the same time. Truth will caress you and hold you so good. Truth is living in your river of needed water, but not necessarily in perpetual isolation. Remember the float? Preoccupation lonely for reciprocation. But how does that work over here? Over here and over there are kissing cousins, just all kinds of directions to everywhere. How far are you willing to go for you? Get to moving now. God is in this somehow, some way. God told me to use his strength. I got it even if I'm floating. God taught me how to trust the float too. What did you get from God, who is love and wisdom? Float in that. Just float on. I have zero complaints though. The cloud that hovers over will do that for you too. I rely on that silver lining around the cloud. It's really fashioned to secure the cloud. The place that holds and releases my river. The place I never want to leave. I revisited that poem because of the passing of the great Nikki Giovanni. She wrote many wonderful books. One of the books she's written was called Racism 101, right? And I bought an original copy of it back in 1994. Look at young Nikki. Man, she is and was amazing. Her spirit is still here in the ether. She wrote a couple of things in this book that I just held on to, very important to me. She said, language is a gift. Listening is a responsibility. So although dialogue is very important, one of the most important components to dialogue is listening. Then when we listen, we'll know what to say. That's how I interpreted that. When we listen, we make better choices, better outcomes. The other thing she said is, but while I live during this all too brief period between birth and death, my life and work have been meaningful to me. The rest is silence. What I do on the planet is important to me. And then hopefully it interprets and has meaning for you as well. So we've lost 3 great African-American women writers here the past few years. The first being Dr. Maya Angelou. The second being the great Toni Morrison. And then the third being here of recent, Miss Nikki Giovanni. So their work will live on in our lives, in our community with people. We quote them quite often, right? And so it's so important to leave your mark in this world, because even if people forget who you are, the words that you say, the art that you create, right, will be meaningful. All right. Thanks so much, guys. You all have a wonderful life. And thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Dr. Maya. And thank you to the great Toni Morrison.